I mean, are there other things to talk about?
I think there are. I can't even explain to you and then how it works with the dashi butter. You were in Cuba and it looked unbelievable.
It's action time.
Welcome back, everyone, to Off the Cuff, the Galavante podcast with your hosts, Regina DeCicco and
Christine Drinan.
And we're always here to talk about all things travel, food, living life. But today, I actually wanted to talk about something else, and I hope that's okay with you.
I mean, you're the boss.
Okay.
Boss with a capital B. So, I mean, but like, we don't talk travel and food. Like, what? I mean, are there other things to talk about?
I think there are. I mean, you're going to tell me in a second. We're going to see what happens. But I was looking online, and then I came across Galavante in the World Foundation. The Galavante in the World Foundation. And I said to myself, how have we not spoken about this? I need to know more. I need to know how this started. I need to know what you're doing.
Well, I mean, first off, you are on our website. I love that.
Well, listen, I have to be on the website because I never know what's going to come up, and I just see pictures, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I always want to know what you're doing, Christine, and then sometimes I'm like, hold on, she's not traveling. What is she doing with all of these people? What's happening here?
Yeah, well, I will say that besides all the fun travel and somehow having this gig,
yes,
that I'm able to explore the world, and we somehow created a business out of it. The heart of who we are is what you found online, is the Galavante in the World Foundation. And we've had this company since 2011, 2012. And that entire time, we've been to incredibly luxurious places. We stay in the very best hotels. But the heart of what we did was we would go into countries that are less traveled, and we would do a small part to help the communities.
Wow.
So I work with an art foundation, the Christopher Foundation for the Arts, and I'm an ambassador for them. And so I would go into schools in Tanzania or Kenya or Rwanda, and I would bring school supplies, and I would teach people to paint.
That's unbelievable, because in situations like that, I feel like that could go so, I don't want to say unnoticed, but when you really need all the necessities, I think people forget about the stuff that really like brings life to you or might bring you joy, and that would probably be like painting, creating, art. I mean, that's sort of, I don't even think anybody thinks about that when you don't have the essentials. But that is essential.
It is. And, you know, there are art foundations out there like the Christopher Foundation for the Arts that focus on that, because just because it's a really tough economic situation does not mean that your mind does not want the capacity for a release. And art in a lot of ways is very therapeutic for anyone. And so since we started the company, I've been doing these small projects. We've sent books places, but it was not until my life changed in 2019. And in 2019, I went to Afghanistan for the first time. And I went to go guest lecture at the American University of Afghanistan in Kabul. It is a school that was started by Laura Bush, former First Lady. And while we were shooting bombs and things at the Taliban, Mrs. Bush was very wise. And she said, you know, when all of this is over, what are we going to have? The only way we're going to change things is through education.
Yes.
And so she was inspired to start this co-ed school in Kabul. And when they first started, I think there were around 48 students, one of whom was a girl, a woman, because for decades, the Taliban did not allow women to have any education whatsoever. And so you have a whole generation of very naturally smart, driven, determined people women who are uneducated. But the women who did get education fought tooth and nail for that. And then eventually the school had over 1,200 students enrolled, and the population was half women, half men, approximately 50-50, which is pretty extraordinary. And to me, like a couple $1 trillion amongst friends that we put into Afghanistan, I think that legacy of the American University of Afghanistan is one of those things. And so I went in 2019 at a time where the situation was deteriorating very fast. I went in with someone who helped found the school, this incredible woman, Leslie Schweitzer. And she and I did not know each other. We had never met. We were introduced through a very good contact that she knows through the world of doing this type of work in the Middle East. And she became someone who I admire more than anyone else. And she's the person who I want to be when I grow up. And I became completely just so impressed by what they had accomplished at the university. And so while I was there, besides guest lecturing on entrepreneurship, I got to mentor the women scholarship recipients, and they became like family. And
that connection has to be so unbelievable. For you, you're not just like reading about it, you're going there, you're doing it, and then you're really connecting with these women.
For me, that was a game changer, because I had always done humanitarian work or worked in education, but for me, I was like, wow, this school is something that is so incredibly special. And so I had made plans to return, even though it was a time where things were quickly deteriorating. We were originally going to air our show on PBS, our travel show, and now we have a different setup. But I had wanted to come and film in Kabul in September of 2020. And so I had made arrangements with the school for us to come in. It was in the midst of the pandemic, a lot of things going on, or actually 2021. But unfortunately, in August of 2021, the Afghan government fell to the Taliban.
Yeah.
And that was the birth of the formal Galavante in the World Foundation.
Okay.
Because I was so deeply invested in the women and wanted to be just a small part of their path as they moved on to these really big futures. Because the American University of Afghanistan, they have more Fulbright scholars by percentage that come out of that school than any other university in the entire world. Just to give you an idea about how bright and how smart the students are. And to be a woman, to have gotten to that stage of education, you know that these girls worked triple hard because they were not allowed to be educated, and they were targeted by the Taliban because they were being educated. And so these are people who have really fought. And so in 2021, 2022, we created a formal foundation because we wanted to help.
No, that's because they fought and fought and fought, and then to have it taken away again, and then for you to realize like who can fight for them now. You know, you were already in there, so you know sort of the capabilities and what they have. I mean, how talented and amazing and bright they are, to say like you have a chance. It's almost like you have a chance.
It was really one of those things that resonated with me. It just hit home. And so we started the foundation. We're a 501c3. And through generous donors and also our company, we have been supporting over a dozen women and some of their families to help them pursue their continuing education. And at first, when everything happened, it was more about like, okay, so-and-so needs a passport funded.
Sure.
And then the passport authorities were charging $1,400 a passport, which is like someone charging us $1 million for a passport. And so we were just trying to help and trying to patch the needs. And it was just such dire circumstances, and people's lives were in danger. And one of our students evacuated from Kabul to Ukraine. We were supporting her in an apartment in Ukraine, and all of a sudden, in January, she and I started speaking. We're like, okay, do you think that something's going to happen in Ukraine? Should we move you out of Kyiv? Should we move you to Lviv because it's close to the Polish border? But how are you going to get across the Polish border? You don't have a valid passport. Like, there's all of these challenges. But I said, hey, we've been through one war zone already. Let's just abundance of caution. Let's move you from Kyiv. Let's go to, and she had already been talking to people. So she gets to Lviv, and the apartment building we had been paying for 8 months at that point was bombed out because it was near a military base. And so it was one of those situations where I'm like, okay, I think now we need to go to Poland. I need to go to Poland. We need to figure out what the next move is, because you go from one place to another, and the Polish people, I've never been so impressed by the generosity and the welcome and how they just brought people into their homes who were displaced. And for us, it's about being able to support. At that point, it was about providing like living stipends, so someone like our student Masuma could survive. But eventually she came to the US, and now our mission more is, we focus right now on this project, but we do other projects as well. So our focus is humanitarian, education, and women's rights. Those are the things that we help with as a foundation, and we give scholarships. To the extent that we have funding, we give scholarships to women who are from Afghanistan, from war-torn countries for them to be able to continue their education. So that is really the heart of our company, because yes, I'm traveling to all 195 countries in the world. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we're also trying to make a small difference, one person at a time. And I respect so much the charities that are out there that are doing things from a very large global macro perspective to change things at a big level. For us, we're making a difference in one person's life at a time.
Yeah, even listening to you, I almost feel speechless. Like this one woman to just go from like place to place, and every place she's moved, it almost like starts up all over again. Like, how could she have any peace of mind? But then to know that she has the foundation there, to know that someone is there having their back. I mean, you specifically are speaking with her, and you're like, how can we get you out of there? What can we do? Because otherwise, I mean, you would just feel lost. I mean, how do you not give up at that point? You know what I mean? Like, what an unbelievable connection you formed with her to be like, no, we're doing this together. And then even to bring like women's rights into it. I feel like everything you're dealing with are all things that, some things that we even thought here were like, we're doing okay. And now it's like, no, we're not. Like none of these things are guaranteed. So it's unbelievable that you're doing that. And I sort of love that personal connection, because you can hear about war and you can hear about you can hear about all these things, but when you like watch, we're just literally watching the path of like one young woman just trying to move around and get her through. And I don't think people realize, like, when you even say what the price of a passport is, no one would know that.
It's just shocking. And like $1,400 may not be a lot to us, but like I said, it's like $1 million to them because of the currency like not being available, like all of these things that have happened. And so I'm very proud to say that one of our students is at Georgetown, Sarah Hakimi, and we had our first fundraiser that allowed us to guarantee that she will be able to complete her education at Georgetown. And she's coming up on graduation, so I feel like I don't have children, and these women are not children by any means, but like for me, they are family.
Yes.
And so I feel like I have my first graduating from college.
Yeah, well, no, even to say that
from
statement
a master's degree
of
at Georgetown.
like a young woman who wasn't ever supposed to be in school, like she didn't live in she was not supposed to be educated at all, to now say she's going to graduate from Georgetown.
From the master's program at Georgetown. She had a full tuition scholarship, but in order for the State Department to approve your visa, student visa to come here, you have to have your living expenses covered, and no scholarships cover that.
Right.
And so that's where we come into play, where we very humbly were able to do one, and I hope that we are going to be able to continue to raise funds so that we can give scholarships to women. I had to turn away women who had full tuition rides to George Washington University for their law school. And to me, that was the most heartbreaking thing. Like, I wish that I could do this for everyone.
Right.
Where if you get a scholarship, a full tuition scholarship to a top tier school, like these schools, I wish that I could give out of my own to be able to support the living stipend that's required for you to even get your student visa approved.
Yeah.
So that is what we're working on. Like our mission is to not be turning away incredible women who get stuck in Afghanistan because they can't get a student visa to come here. So like anyone who has a tuition ride like that is somebody who is wicked smart, and it's somebody who deserves, who's fought their entire lives, and who deserves to be able to continue on in school.
Right, and I think it's important for people to realize that too, where it's like, against all the odds, these women have done all the work, and yet they can still face another roadblock at the end because a scholarship doesn't include housing.
Exactly. I mean, you can't come here without it. So, and then besides that, you know, obviously the financing part is critical. It's a no-go if, you know, we can't get financing for the women. But the other thing we do is we provide mentorship. And you know, I always tell, I have to bring Masuma up again, but I always tell Masuma, never take advice from me about men before I go into 2 hours of advice about men. But it's more than, you know, I'm just joking here, but I am saying, like, you know, there's a mentorship aspect where you're in a country, you're in a foreign country, things are very different. And what our team does, because it's a team, and we have Keiko Reed, who's our Chief Financial Officer, who, what she does on an everyday basis, the emergency requests for funds and all of these things, like she just runs the show. We have Walter, who's our legal. We never would have gotten off the ground without him. We never would have gotten our 501c3. We have Lisa Hathaway, who has governance, because they lock it down. Let me tell you, like we are run like an efficient machine. And then I have to bring up Tina Nasser, who is the person who mentors these women, who puts her heart into conversations with them so frequently. She's in touch. She's like the den mother of the group, where, you know, someone was trying to evacuate their cats with them when they were able to leave Afghanistan. And anyone who's ever had a pet knows that, like, they are part of your family. Some people would have been like, oh, no, we can't do this for you. Tina found a home for the cats in the U.S. for a year before they were able to evacuate to Canada after being in a refugee camp for almost 18 months. So it's really incredible what the women on our team do, and Walter, our attorney, and then all of the supporters that we have. You know, we've had people who support our foundation meet with students who were able to get to Paris on a school scholarship and take them to lunch and just get to know them. And so we do the mentorship. We also help with trying to match people with jobs because we have such an incredible network. And so there are so many different ways to get involved, besides money, but definitely donate, because your funds go, 100% of the proceeds go to the women. It's one of those things that, you know, with a lot of charities, you just never know where things go. Like, we are 100% volunteer run. No one's getting paid anything. And it's not like we're doing this for a thank you. We're just doing this for women who deserve an opportunity to fulfill their potential.
No, and you're caring on every level. I mean, even that simple, and that it's not a simple story with the cats, but it's just to say, like, no, it's you as a person. We're literally thinking about you as your whole entire being, and we're trying to help you. No, I think it's unreal to even just to have a contact would be amazing, but then, like, how much work you're doing. Oh, I love it. I love what Galavante in the world is doing. This is an amazing foundation. I feel like I need to hug you because this is so unbelievable. It's like, this is my friend is doing all of this amazing work, and it's because you don't realize how hard it is for some people, and you have to talk about it.
And like I said, I wish we could do more. Like, I know so many of the women will watch this video, and I wish that I could have said yes to every single person. And maybe I should have married a billionaire, because everyone would be funded at this point. But I guess I'm just going to have to work my butt off to be the billionaire myself.
And she is working her butt off to be the billionaire.
So I can do all of these projects.
Because but it's amazing.
It's something, like I said, that is the heart of who we are at Galavante. And it's the reason why we have all of these great businesses and business verticals within Galavante, but really the motivation is the impact that we're able to make in the world with what we're able to do. And so whether we're impacting people by changing someone's perspective and giving them an appreciation for life through a luxury vacation, or whether we're being able to be part of an incredibly smart and talented woman's life and just be a very small part of her future. You know, our student Sarah's graduating, and Giving Tuesday is coming up, so definitely check out Galavante for Giving Tuesday. But Sarah's graduating, and that profoundness of just being a small part of helping her this past couple years on her living expenses at Georgetown, so she could have come here. She's going to take this, and she's going to be the one to change the world. What we're just doing is we're just doing a very small part, but we're doing it for one person at a time.
No, I love it so much. I've now fallen in love with a whole other aspect of Galavante. And like, you just keep falling in love with Galavante. This was incredible to know about everything that Galavante in the World Foundation is doing. And I'm so proud of you.
Oh my
it's
God.
Inspiring. You're inspiring. You're inspiring. Everybody knows what to do. Everybody knows what to do now. You have to find out more about Galavante in the world and help if you can, because you're doing incredible work.
Thank you for spying on our website.
No, listen.
You're the one person who's on the website.
So I don't just look for restaurant recommendations, Christine. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us again. And thank you, Christine. We'll see you next time.